Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're actually going to be looking at a fire and kind of trying to do a little bit of investigation based on the available data to try to figure out what happened. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, May 16th, there was a fire that erupted at the Jacksonville airport, specifically in the hourly parking garage. Fire department says it did start with one car and spread to a lot. You can kind of see some video here. The fire got really big. It happened on the third floor. Here's kind of a time lapse of the smoke. As you see, it started small and got huge really quick. So here's kind of where it happened. Here's the Jacksonville airport. If we zoom in here, you can kind of see this is the hourly parking lot. Here's the daily. So it happened right here at the very southwest corner of the parking garage on the third floor. So the first one is rental cars. Second, third, and fourth level are hourly parking. So if we zoom in right here, you can kind of see this is the area we're going to be looking at right here. This kind of this corner area. If we zoom in kind of to the street view, I want you to just note this metal fence, how this is solid metal, and over here it goes to more of a cabling because that's going to be kind of important in our video. So obviously a video like this is quite concerning. Nobody likes a fire, but I did feel compelled to make a video kind of based on what I saw the internet was attributing this to. So let me explain. If you go to any news article like this one, you'll see a video of the fire. Then you scroll down and this is what you're going to see. Tesla. Scroll down a little more. Probably a Tesla. Most Teslas probably. Scroll down a little more. Blame the Tesla. Yes, a Tesla flamed out. You know, people are saying this was quite certainty that it was a Tesla. Or some kind of electric. That's why I don't park next to EVs, etc. They should ban Teslas. So yeah, it's pretty obvious what the internet is saying, so that I did feel compelled to make this. So for those of you that are not familiar with my channel, I am not an EV guy. I'm not an internal combustion car guy. I don't have my foot in either of those camps. I have my foot in the I'm a car guy camp. So this channel is about exotics and European performance and modern muscle and classic and off-road and yes, EVs. I kind of think that you're not really a true car guy unless you really explore the best in all the different genres of cars, because there's so much cool stuff out there. But there is one thing that bugs me is anytime somebody says, well, this car is hard to work on, or these things are all so unreliable. People make all these claims about cars, and a lot of it is just out of pure ignorance without actually not having had their hands on that car and own them. So that's kind of what I do a little bit in the channel. So when I see comments like this, I kind of think that it's pure ignorance. And so I do have to look into it, and I could be wrong. So we're going to do a little investigation here and try to figure out what's going on. All right, so let's get to it. Let's go ahead and start the investigation. So even if there was no video evidence of this fire, we could actually look at it from a statistical standpoint from the data that has been collected and figure out how likely was it to be a EV or a gas car. So the NTSB and the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration both have data on this. And I found this one article that kind of combined them. The data actually is from the NTSB, but I'll go ahead and summarize. The NTSB showed that EVs were involved in approximately 25 fires for every 100,000 cars sold. Comparatively, there were approximately 1,500 gasoline-powered vehicles and 3,400 hybrid vehicles for every 100,000 sold. So again, for every 100,000 cars sold, 25 are EVs and 1,500 are gas fires. So that actually, if you do the math, that means that you are 61 times more likely to have your gas-powered car burn down than an EV. But that's actually not quite all the data. We need to factor how many EVs are on the road compared to gas cars. And so that number actually comes out to about 1.4% of all cars on the road today are EVs. Factoring in that the EV fires are 25 cars per 100,000, gas cars are 1,530 cars. So we can actually do the math. So if you take that statistic of 61 times more likely that a gas car catches on fire than an electric car and do it times the actual cars that are available, you get a probability that it was a 99.98% chance that a gas car burned down and only a 0.02 chance that an EV car down. So that is statistically what we're looking at, but let's go ahead and look at the video data. Now, most people have seen the videos where the whole parking garage is on fire, basically all 50 cars. That's what the news likes to show because they don't like to show the small fire that happened at the beginning. But there are some videos that do show the fire when it first started. We're going to go and take a look at those. So here's the best video I found to kind of show you what the fire looked like when it first started. So as you can see here, the fire is quite a bit smaller. I'm going to pause it right here. It appears that one car in the middle is on fire and there are two on the side. I do not believe that it started behind these, and I'll show you why later in kind of the post shot. So let's kind of watch this again real quick. And I want you to kind of take a look at a few things here. One is where we are. So here is the metal, all metal fence. Then there's a support column, and then you have the cabling type fence after that. And we're predominantly looking at the first section after the fence, the support column, and the second section. So the fire actually starts right behind this support column here. There's a couple other cars I want you to see kind of as a reference as well, and we'll kind of zoom in here. First off, you can see that this car looks fully engulfed, but you can't really tell what it is. Right here we have what appears to be an Acura MDX or RDX, and over here this is a Ford Explorer. Now we are assuming that the side of this car didn't catch on fire and spread to this car, and then same thing with this. We're assuming that the middle car caught on fire and spread to the cars on either side. So I think that's pretty fair assumption. As we pause it here, you can see here is a white Tahoe. We're going to be using that as quite a bit of a reference here. Up and slightly left is the Acura. Up and slightly left you get this black SUV with a chrome bumper. Next to that there is another black SUV with no chrome bumper, and then there's going to be a white SUV on the other side of the column. So let's continue this video. Right here, Jeep Wrangler, that's the last one in the fourth floor, and a white kind of, I think this is like a CX-9 or something like that here. And then obviously another white Tahoe that later catches on fire. So let's go and watch this again kind of slower. We're going to pause it right here. So we get kind of a glimpse of what kind of car this is. Well, notice the one thing's pretty obvious here. There is a vertical slatted grille on this car right here. Here's kind of a zoomed in picture right here. So as you can see, there's vertical slats here. And so that kind of rules out a Tesla or, you know, a lot of the EVs, because there really isn't any EVs that have vertical slats, with the exception of one. This could be a Mercedes EQS, so the jury is still out there. So hopefully we'll be able to get some better footage here in a second. But my initial gut instinct is the BMW X5 or X3. That's when I first saw it. That's what I kind of came up with. So anyway, let's kind of continue on and see what else we can find. Again, here's a couple really slow motion slots of that car. So here's kind of an external view. We can kind of look at this. Here's that white Tahoe that didn't burn on the second floor. Above and left, this will be our MDX. Right here will be our Patient Zero. And here's the Explorer. Here's the Tahoe. And there's the Jeep, white SUV, black SUV 1, black SUV with chrome bumper here too. Now all these cars got singed really bad. You can kind of see there's a support column down here. Again, we're talking about this kind of area on the parking garage on the third floor. Here's kind of a shot of just more engulfed as the fire started to spread left and right, basically. And now we're going to get into some of the after pictures. All right, so after the fire was out, there were the fire department went in there and took some pictures and posted them online for us. So I want you to kind of take note of this one. Again, we're in the southwest corner. Here is that guardrail right here. Here's where the cabling starts. So this is that window 1 that I was referring to with a concrete down. Jeeps above it, white SUV. Over here you can see there's a longer support structure down, and that appears to have landed on what appears to be a Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra Denali backed in. So that one kind of got smashed, and those I'll use reference here later. Here's the other perspective they took. Again, here's where the metal fencing ends and the cabling starts. So this is window 1. So here's our car. That's Patient Zero behind the pillar here. That would mean that this is our white Tahoe. Here is our Explorer. Here's kind of a panning shot. So this, I believe, is the Tahoe. Right here we have the Ford Explorer, and then here is Patient Zero. I'm going to zoom in here, but I want you to notice one thing here real quick. Right behind these cars there is a Ford Super Duty that looks singed but not burned to the ground. So that would mean to me that the fire did not start in the center of the garage and spread outward. It started on the outside and got very hot and left these cars, you know, basically intact while singed. Back here you can also see the headlight of probably a Honda Accord or similar. So we'll keep panning over here. So this is the Explorer again. Right here is our Patient Zero, as we call it, and behind the pole. And then the far left we can see our MDX just up and slightly left of that white Tahoe. So let's zoom in on this car and see if we can find any additional details that kind of help us identify it. All right, so right here we see that it has a panoramic sunroof. Really can't see a whole lot with the front here, but one thing I do notice, there is a back window back here. So it is a SUV with a back window. That rules out the Mercedes EQS EV because those things are a sedan, not an SUV. And so either way, we still don't know what car this is, but it did rule out a couple for us. But luckily, fire department went and helped us out on that. So this is one thing I found really interesting. According to the fire department, nobody is allowed in the parking garage. You cannot retrieve your car. The fire department isn't even allowed up there because they've deemed the structure compromised. And so they've actually been using drones to fly around in there to identify, to make sure there's no bodies or people, you know, in danger in there. And they claim they have not sent a person in there yet. They did send one person in there to take pictures because these are posted on the fire department. And so here's the picture they showed. So right here you can see that there is rebar down around. It really singed the inside of this room. The concrete has fallen on the ground for all the support columns. In this picture, I want you to notice two things. Here is the long support column that fell on top of the truck that was backed in. And so again, I'm going to show you perspective of where that is. That is the one around the corner on the south facing one. So the picture is being taken from this kind of area over here, facing this way. So let's go ahead and zoom in, and remember this is where the corner starts. So this one is actually on the south facing. These ones are facing the airport side, facing west. So we see, I don't know what this car is, but obviously this car right here, no doubt with that quarter panel, that is the white Tahoe from the beginning. Right here we have the Ford Explorer with the column on top of it resting on its hood. And then lastly we have Patient Zero, and then the Acura here. So here's a better look of Patient Zero. Now let me reiterate something from earlier in this video. The fire department has said they know which car started this. They weren't sure of the make and model or who owned it. And they also said that nobody's allowed in there, not even fire personnel. They've been using a drone. Yet they found it important enough to walk into this dangerous garage and walk directly up to Patient Zero, this car, to take a picture of it. So I'm pretty sure that just by the mere fact that this is the only car they took a direct picture of, that kind of shows you that they also believe that this is Patient Zero. And we can look at here and see a couple things on this car. One, there are dual exhaust tips on the bottom here. Two, you can see a little badge here. Again, panoramic sunroof, a four-door SUV with back windows. And so after looking at this, it didn't take long to figure out that this is a BMW X3. So here's a shot of it next to you know, an actual live BMW X3. You can see that where the gas cap location right on the body seam, where the body line starts just in front of that rear door handle starts. The window shape is the same with this kind of curved off thing. The tail light shape is the same. You can even see where the tail light comes down here and kind of angles down. That matches this. So I think it's very, very clear that this was a BMW X3 that I'm not going to say that started the fire because I don't want to get in trouble for slander from BMW. I'm just saying that the very first video shows that this car was the first car on fire. And so whatever caused it, I'm sure the fire department hopefully can determine what caused it. But so here's a quick edit for you all. My wife showed me these links while I was putting everything together. So apparently BMW has recalled 720,000 vehicles due to they may cause a fire, including the X3. So this is kind of interesting. Apparently the water pump can drip, short the car out, and cause a fire. And actually I did find a news article here too. So in Littleton, Colorado, there's a news article here where a BMW X3 spontaneously combusted and burned down the two cars next to it, in fact. And so late model BMW X3 burst into flames into a parking lot of Automotive at South Broadway in Littleton. And it does say the intense heat also damaged two nearby cars. So apparently this has happened before. So if you guys have a BMW, I'd highly suggest going and taking care of this recall ASAP and maybe avoid parking next to one. Anyway, I hope this video, guys, kind of cleared up what maybe the first car that was on fire was, and maybe kind of dispelled a little myths, because I hate ignorance. People that just jump to conclusions, whether it be political, car related, or whatever. You know, I'm a car guy. I don't want to see cars unfairly treated. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please hit like and subscribe. If you like more car content, I got plenty of car content coming up. Hopefully I won't be seeing any more fires recently, but I did think this was important enough to make a video on. Thanks for watching, guys.